Good afternoon, welcome to VANIK-IAS. We'll discuss current affairs of 29th April. First topic is scrutinizing the death penalty. Right? The Supreme Court to institutionalize a mechanism through which crucial information of the person who has been condemned to death can be gathered and placed on record before trial judges. Right? Why scrutinizing is important? See, so far as death penalty is concerned, there are many times there is voices against, especially from the judiciary, from the old judges or eminent jurists or those people who are deeply associated with criminal jurisprudence. They have been denying death penalty. There are various reasons for it why death penalty should not be given. So far as India is concerned, it is in rarest of rare cases. In rarest of rare cases, death penalty can be given to a particular person. But over the years, there is huge demand from the public for death penalty so far as rape and women harassment. So for rape is concerned, women against crime is concerned, huge demand from the public so far as death penalty is concerned. There again and again they are demanding death penalty. In such a situation, it is now it's a debate whether we should revisit, and by bringing a law also, government of India has given in case of child and rape death penalty. Government of India has brought a law. Now why we should not give death penalty in such cases? In case of, there are some principles of justice and on which a punishment is given especially to reduce the crime, that act as a deterrence to reduce the crime, that creates fear among the masses and they stay away from crime. But it has been seen that even if death sentence is there, there is no reduction of rape rates or crime against women. And it has been also seen that it is the evidences by experiment that harsh punishment do not lead to reduce in crime. When the punishment becomes more and more harsh, especially what happens, underreporting increases. Underreporting means in a family, suppose as most of these women related crime, in 95% of the cases they are known to the person, right? 95% of the rape cases or 95% of the cases in which violence against child is occurring, that is they are the known person to the victim, right? Somebody surrounding or friend or somebody else. In such a case, if there is a stricter action, very harsh punishment for death rate, usually it has seen that they keep it under the carpet. That means they hide it, right? They do not lodge complaint because the punishment is too high. And so far as underreporting is concerned, its number is much higher in India as compared to Western countries because of various social issues or social stigma. Women related crimes are not reported in to the police, so underreporting is already there. And if harsh punishment will be more and more harsh, the underreporting will increase, and underreporting is more severe as compared to harsh punishment. Underreporting encourages the criminals. Underreporting increases the number of crimes, but harsh punishment do not decrease the number of crimes. Nowhere in the world harsh punishment led to decline in the rate of rape or women related crime. This is the first point. Second point is that why there should not be death rate, why there should not be um, capital punishment or death penalty. In 75% of the countries, around three-fourths of the countries of the world, they have already abolished death penalty. In case of terrorism also, in case of rare and rare terrorism, in case of rarest of rare cases, in case of terrorism, India has death penalty, but that do not serve any purpose. Why? Many times many scholars says that that do not serve any purpose, because that lead to the concept of your Shahid concept or martyr concept. If somebody from the terrorist group they are dying by the state, that creates huge news, and also they are they are regarded as a martyr or a I mean it's like a god for their community. So, and that refuels terrorism again. That's why some of the judges they are also refusing to give capital punishment to the terrorists, rather than they are advocating for life imprisonment, that is throughout the life they lead to imprisonment. One more thing is also there. So first thing is there is no deterrence in the crime. So far, even if death penalty is a particular crime, harsh punishment do not lead to even decrease in the crime. And next point is that it's not that whatever the judiciary take decisions, that is always in the line of the justice. Sometimes wrong judgments have also given, right? Many times wrong judgments have also given, but later after getting some evidences, they again give one more judgment and leaving the leaving the culprit free. But in case of death penalty, once the step is taken, after that, even if there is evidences, they cannot bring the life. They cannot go to the retrospect. That is the issue with the death penalty. So, so that is the highest level of punishment maybe that is given to a person who is innocent. Sometimes it later it also find in one particular case it has also happened that even after giving the death penalty, the Supreme Court observed that the case is false and the person is was going to get death penalty. So that's why in various countries, around three-fourths of the total countries, death penalty is almost getting abolished. It's abolished. But in case of India, it is in rarest of rare cases. Okay. So as the demand for death penalty is increasing, that's why Supreme Court is setting an institutional mechanism through which the information of the person who has been given death can be gathered. All the information needs to be gathered and put in place to record before the trial of the judges. Right. So the judges must know in detail about the person who is going to be hanged. See, another thing is that any punishment that is more than 7 years, or in case of death penalty, if a lower court gives death penalty, first that will be analyzed by the High Court, and High Court will, if it realizes that the person will deserve to get death penalty, it will upheld that, or it will say it will convert into life imprisonment, right? But many times it is seen that all those cases which are recommended by High Court to the Supreme Court, in 75% of the cases, High Court turn them into Supreme Court turn them the death penalties to life imprisonment, like life imprisonment, right? Life imprisonment. So especially this is one more thing, that in case of 75% of cases, Supreme Court converts the death penalty to life imprisonment that is given by the High Court or the lower court. So especially it is according to Supreme Court, in in the rarest of rare cases, Supreme Court gives the death penalty. The apex court opined that may be opting for death penalty in hurry, thus making pronouncement hasty. Hasty pronouncement may lead to your punishment of the innocent, right? Innocent should not be punished. That may happen, right? Next, very little efforts have been made by the trial courts to understand the circumstances under which a person committed a crime. There are very little efforts by the trial courts, right? Trial courts, by very little efforts, they declare the death penalty or severe punishments. That's why to understand their complete information by a particular person, Supreme Court has established the institutional mechanism. Under the new mechanism, trial judges would be assisted by mitigation experts to aid the judicial process for determining the punishment. They will be assisted by mitigation experts who will be provide information. The decision is seen as a sign of the judiciary veering away from death penalty. Veering away from the death penalty. That is going away from the death penalty. Supreme Court will realize that whether in what circumstances the person has committed that particular crime. Then, and also by giving death penalty, there is no scope to a particular person, no option to change himself or to change himself or his character or anything like that. Government is not giving any such opportunity to a particular person. That's why, and there is no sound uh, evidence or there is no sound argument in support of death penalty as of now. There is a false conception that it will reduce the crime because that will create fear in the mind of people, those who are committing these crimes, but actually that is not happening. So it will be only to give satisfaction to our anger or frustration against a particular person, otherwise is do not solve the purpose of decreasing crime in the society. Court says that one side fits for all approach while considering mitigating factors during their sentencing should end. A more enlightened approach has to be evolved, right? That enlightened approach is uh, that is that enlightened approach is making research about a particular person who is accused of death penalty, his history, on what circumstances he has done such criminal, whether he is a habitual offender or it is just by mistake or in a certain impulse or anything in particular reason. The court said that one side fit for all is not good approach. Then, hence, court asks the Attorney General to assist them institutionalize a mechanism through which information of crucial of the convict can be gathered and placed on record before the trial judges. Right? Information crucial to the convict that should be given to the judges before the trial in the court. Mitigation experts. Mitigation expert would be a qualified professional with unhindered access to the convict's past or to be at the center of this change in outlook. Mitigation expert would be a qualified professional with unhindered access to the convict past. Right? The mitigation expert, they will have all knowledge regarding the past of the convict. Right? That's why, and that is how a person to be charged. He would have expertise in fields as varied as social work, sociology, anthropology, criminology, psychology, and other social sciences. Those mitigation experts, they should have expertise in sociology, anthropology, criminology, psychology, and other social sciences. They would interview the convicts, their families, friends, and other associated with the prisoners, and their past to draw a complete picture. The data would then be placed before the trial just to aid and end the judicial process determining the punishment. Right. The history of a particular person that makes a creates a lot of thing in the punishment, because that is how you can judge a person. because you have not seen the future in what a particular person do in the future. He may become a criminal, he may become a leader, anything he can become. But how to judge a particular person? You can only judge a particular person only from his history. That's why Supreme Court has established the mitigation experts who has depth of knowledge in sociology, anthropology. Anthropology means evolution of human being, criminology regarding crime, psychology, and other social sciences. And they will interview the families, friends, and those people who are associated with a particular convict to get a complete picture about their past, and accordingly, the trial in the court can start. Just a second. Death penalty in India. The death penalty. Just a second. Yes. Death penalty in India. Death penalty, what is death penalty? Death penalty is a capital punishment, is the highest degree of punishment that can be awarded to an individual under specified penal law in force. Specified penal law, right? Due procedure established by law. Right? For example, even if that is, so far as death penalty is concerned, we are giving every right to a particular person to speak, right? Even in the case of Pasar, the Supreme Court, it has followed the extensive judicial procedure, right? And it took two years. It took 2 years because that is giving every opportunity even to the convict, because that is the principle of natural justice. Everybody must be heard of before giving a particular verdict against them, right? They must speak in defending themselves. Even if there is every evidences, they have the right to claim life imprisonment in case of death sentence. Our Armed Forces Special Power Act, why it is opposed by various social activists in northeastern states in and Jammu and Kashmir. The reason is simply that in whole India, if you want to kill a person, then you have to go through a long judicial procedure that should be given by the lower court, then high court, then Supreme Court, then your council of minister will advise the president not to give the presidential pardon, then that person will be executed, right? But in this Armed Forces Special Power Act, a army constable can kill a particular person and that there will be no inquiry. That's why that is again and again, that is that is opposed, right? So if a particular person is suffering, a particular person will they have the right to get extensive judicial rights to defend themselves. That is legal jurisprudence. It is a legally backed instrument used by the state to take an individual life. It has been in existence in the inception of the state itself. Since the inception of state means when the state was created. State means the government. When the system of government was created in the anywhere in the world, that is called that you have called inception of state. It was the theory was given by the Hobbes. He has said that man has every right, and yes, state will protect the man, life of the person, and the responsibility of state is to protect the life of the person. That is the primary duty of the state, or the government is the manifestation of state. Remember, as and another thing is that state has the only right to kill a person. He has the right to kill a person, but it is first given in certain circumstances. The initial political scientists, they have said that except killing, state should have all the rights. So this killing of individual's life by the state, it is since the inception of state, when the state is created. During British Raj, there are countless instances of human being hanged after trial and even before it. The dawn of independence brought a new era in the judicial system in India. Various people are hanged by various reasons, right? Post-independence, India became a democratic state and the system of awarding death penalties to change drastically. The Indian Penal Code, in accordance with the provisions of enshrined in the Constitution of India, provide awarding the capital punishment to certain specific offences. For certain specific offences, you will be awarded capital punishment. Article 21 of the Constitution, which guarantees every citizen fundamental right to life, also expressly states that no person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty except according to the procedure established by law. That means if you are killing a person, then you have to go through extensive judicial procedure. Right? Whatever the procedure established by law, you have to follow it. You cannot directly kill a person. So that is why even in case of Kasab, the dreaded terrorist in Mumbai attack, the court followed the procedure it was following in every case. Hence, under no circumstances your right to live will be taken away from you except by due procedure established by law. Right? There is a due procedure in the first process your life will be taken, and only that is the according to Constitution that will be followed while killing a person. If you want to decrease the crime rate, really if you want to decrease the crime rate, then you can establish fast track court for them, especially for women and children. You can establish fast track courts. But various courts have promised, various state governments have promised to establish fast track courts, but there is no such success, right? After a severe crime against women, they will come and they will say that we have taken the decision to establish this much of fast track courts, this much of fast track courts, but they will not establish, right? And that is why the crime is increasing. To reduce the crime, there should be early justice, but there should be justice, and there should be, early punishment of the particular person, not harsh punishment, as given as suggested by the eminent jurists of the world. An argument in favor of death penalty. Deterrence. Proponents of death penalty argue that it creates deterrence and bring down the level of grave crimes in the society, but actually doesn't happen. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen. That do not bring down the level of crimes in the society. Underreporting increases. Retribution. It argues that perpetrator should get what they deserve. If they have committed a crime, they should get the punishment in proportion. Right? The way you committed a crime, in the same way you also need the punishment. Right? So if you have done the grievous crime, you have done the most horrendous crime, then you also accordingly get the punishment. Specifically of death sentence, certain nations, just a second. Specifically of the death sentence, certain nations have peculiar security concerns which are not often universal. Example, India has been repeatedly victim of terrorism and also faced secession issues. Secession issues means state usurping the power from the central government. Right? Hence, proponents argue such national security concerns require death sentences. They require severe sentences. So, if you are engaging in terrorism, and because India has been facing that problem since so many years, that's why it's a serious problem. That's why their proponents, they are advocating for death sentences. Gravest of crimes. Some crimes are too grave for letting death penalty go. Example, Nirvana case in Delhi. Right. Too grave for letting the death penalty go. Right. That is most heinous crime that happened in Delhi. And in that case, there was popular outcry for regarding death sentence. and court has also granted to three of the four accused, three of the four criminals who have did it, right? They have they are given death sentence. Arguments against death sentence. Its opponents argue that statistically death penalty doesn't have brought any deterrence in the nature of heinous crimes. All over the world, it has not declined the number of crimes, although that is a popular belief that do not happen. From ethical perspective, retribution should be done away with. Rather, criminal justice system should be reformative. Reformative means there should be chances for a particular person to rebuild his life. We should give opportunity to a particular person to realize that what mistake he has done, and and to will start to bring a new person into a particular person after some decades, right? 1 or 2 decades. Chances of an innocent getting executed remains human errors. Human error is also in judicial processing cannot be ruled out. Human error is a fact, and by certain human error, right? By certain human error, if there is a wrong verdict, then a particular person will be hanged. But after getting the evidence, real evidences, that cannot be solved. Right? Not much efforts are made to dig deeper into convicts' childhood experiences. So, convicts' childhood experiences need to analyze history of physical and mental health issues, exposure to traumatic events, social cultural factors, culture crucial for doing an informed inquiry. The coming of a mitigation experts will make the trial court judges have a holistic view about the circumstances of the convicted in crime. Right. Mitigation experts will make a trial court judges to have a holistic view about the circumstances of the convict. So, what are the convicts? What are the circumstances of the convict at which he has done this fact? That need to be analyzed. Whether he is mentally unstable or whether he has some biological problems or anything. If somebody has, that need to be analyzed. That need to be taken into account by the court. Right. Next topic is All India Household Consumer Expenditure Survey. All India Household Consumer Expenditure Survey. All India Household, it was set to resume this year after a prolonged break. It is usually conducted in National Statistical Office every 5 years. NSO every 5 years it conducts National Consumer Expenditure Survey. It was used to arrive at the estimates of poverty levels in different parts of the country. Used to arrive as to different poverty levels at different parts of the country. Right. Different poverty levels that are brought by, for example, your Lakhadawala committee, your Rangarajan committee, S. Tendulkar committee, they have mentioned different poverty levels. United Nations, it talks about $1.9 if somebody is somebody has an income of less than $1.9 a day, then we can calculate as poor as compared as according to United Nations. It is so this household expenditure survey is important to estimate for poverty estimation. It is used to review economic indicators like gross domestic product since 2011. Expenditure method. There are various methods of expenditure, methods of calculating GDP. One is expenditure method and second is income method. The survey is conducted between July and June. The survey is conducted between July and June. This year's exercise is expected to be completed by June 2023. The estimates of household monthly per capita consumer expenditure and retribution of households and a person over different MPC classes may only become available about a year after the fieldwork is completed. The results will include separate data sets for rural and urban parts. Also, splice spending patterns for each state and union territory as well as different socio-economic groups. So this will include the separate data for rural and urban because a person there is different poverty, sorry, poverty estimation. There is different benchmark has been set both for rural and urban because in urban areas obviously a person needs higher amount of income to maintain a particular lifestyle. In rural areas there is a different amount, different income level to maintain a particular life. So that will be separate data for both rural and urban areas regarding the expenditure. Estimates of household monthly per capita consumer expenditure and distribution of household per person for over different classes may only become very available. Pranahita River, Maharati and special rituals marked the grand final of 12-day Pranahita River Festival. The Mega River Festival is related to Oswing Pranahita. Pranahita, Oswing Pranahita, that is Pranahita River Festival. 12-day Pranahita River Festival, it was grand final, Maharati and other rituals. This is a, yes, about Pranahita River. It is a perennial river that provides sufficient water, food and wild creatures. It is a tributary river of Godavari, flows through Pranahita Wildlife Sanctuary. Godavari is in river Godavari, it's a tributary of Pranahita River. It's a tributary of river Godavari and that is in Pranahita Wildlife Sanctuary. Right. It flows along the border of Gadchiroli district of Maharashtra and Telangana. Border of Maharashtra and Telangana, this Pranahita river that flows, which is a tributary of Godavari river, and there is Pranahita Wildlife Sanctuary tributaries: Mamda, Nagulbhagu, Uilbhagu, Pedabhagu, Medaram, Bama, Dongi, Patra. These are the tributaries of Pranahita river. At least you should remember that this belongs to this is a tributary of Godavari river and that is Pranahita Wildlife Sanctuary and Pranahita River Festival. It is a 12-day festival. They are worshipping the Pranahita. Then next is Space BRICS. India ISRO. ISRO and Indian Institute of Science have developed a sustainable process of making bricks on the moon. Sustainable process of making bricks on the moon. ISRO and Indian Institute of Science. They have developed sustainable process of making bricks in the moon. What is bricks? Bricks process uses urea, lunar soil, bacteria, and guar beans making these bricks. These will be included to make those bricks in the surface on the surface of moon. Process. The process of creating these bricks involves using urea, which can be readily found in human urine, and mixing it with lunar soil are raw materials. Lunar soil are the raw materials, and urea will be used to create bricks in the surface of moon. Adding guar gum that extracted from guar beans, that will join them. And another option is using bacterium called as Sporosacina pasteuri. Sporosacina pasteuri. These are bacterium they found which produces calcium carbonate crystals through a metabolic pathway called as ureolytic cycle. Ureolytic cycle. So in this process, calcium carbonate crystals are used. Also used, guar gum is used, and also urea is used, lunar soil is used, bacteria is used, guar beans are used. These are the components of making bricks in the moon surface. Then significance. It will be useful in building self-sustaining structures in the moon. Self-sustaining structures. That will, on the surface of moon, you can create self-sustaining structures by these bricks. Many countries that hopes of sending humans to the moon, Mars and other quarters of planets of our solar system. Other planets of our solar system. ISRO is working on sending fast human being to orbit on Gaganyaan mission started in 2022. ISRO is working for sending, yes, Gaganyaan mission. No, Gaganyaan mission is the fast human flight, um, fast Indian manned mission to the fast Indian manned mission to space, that is Gaganyaan. Right. And there will be at least three crew members, both from ISRO and Indian Air Force. It will go to the low Earth orbit. They will be remain for their 5 to 7 days. 10,000 crore will be spent for the fast man mission, that is Gaganyaan, right? That will be launched by the ISRO in 2022. Okay, so this is making bricks in the on the surface of moon to develop some permanent structures. Next question. India and Nepal relationship. India and Nepal relationship. This is the long question. Over the years, a number of differences have emerged in India and Nepal that needs attention. India needs to be sensitive and generous partner for the neighborhood fast policy to take the route. Comment. How to approach question? First, you must write about Nepal. How it is important. What is the relevance of Nepal, and what are the issues, and how needs need to be solved in the line of our neighborhood fast policy. Nepal is an important neighbor of India, occupies special significance in its foreign policy because of the geographical, historical, cultural, economic linkages that span centuries. Since centuries, we have geographical linkages. Even today, we do not have a solid border like we do not have border infrastructure like in case of our LOC or LAC or near Nepal, Indo-Bangladesh border, because we have a close. So that's why there is no clear-cut border. I mean, there is no border infrastructure development in uh, I mean big boundary walls or fencing in case of India and Nepal border. There is high people to people contact, exchanges, marriages and natural cultural festivals, trade, all these things that between local population that happens. Historical linkages, yes, we have historical linkages, so because Buddha was born in Nepal, like in Lumbini, we have historical linkages, we have cultural linkages. So far as Buddhism is concerned, we have very good relationship with the Buddhist monks, right? Then economic linkages, there is the even they can work in Indian industry. Even various Nepalese people are working in India. There are also Gorkha regiment, there is special Gorkha regiment where Nepalese people will, they are getting national treatment. They are also they are getting like they are the people of India, right? India has signed the Indo-Nepal treaty of friendship in 1950. Under which they are getting national treatment. They can invest, but India is in return. Indian people cannot work in Nepal. India-Nepal relationship is also called as roti-beti relationship. Roti-beti relationship means very close cooperation, like family relationship. It has become highly informal, especially why it is informal. Informal is because many of the uh, informal is because many of the uh, Indian ambassadors, they are getting married in the Nepal. Right, various bureaucrats are getting married, by marital relationship with Nepal. There is also politicians also marrying, especially from the regions of UP and Bihar. Various people are getting married in the Nepal. They have close cooperation with the Madhesi population also. We have very ethnic linkages with the Madhesi population. There is huge marital relationship, and but that is how we have close economic linkages with Nepal. And Nepal is a landlocked country. Most of the trades that happens because through India is giving us international passages to the sea route, right? So we have very good economic linkages. since centuries, right? India and Nepal share similar ties. Nepal shares similar ties in terms of Hinduism and Buddhism, with Buddhist workplace Lumbini located near present-day Nepal. Over the past few years, we have been witness to deteriorating India-Nepal relationship. Reserves of goodwill which India has accumulated is fast depleting in Nepal. Reserves of goodwill is depleting in Nepal. Our goodwill is depleting, especially during when Sushma Swaraj was the foreign minister, was external affairs minister. At that time, there was a Madhesi blockade. What happened? Nepal released its constitution, and just before releasing the constitution, Jaishankar, our foreign secretary at that time, Mr. Jaishankar was there, and he reached Nepal, right? And that seen as an interference in the domestic matter. We have Panchashil agreement where we again and again we have a principle that non-interference in domestic matters, but going there just before the release of the constitution, that created a big hue and cry in news. I guess that is India is interfering in the domestic matters of Nepal. Another thing is that the 1950 treaty, it was signed between Indian ambassador and Japanese premier, right? So there is no match between an official and the head of the state. The treaty must be signed with the head of the state of the two countries. That is the protocol. But there is no match between Indian ambassador and the head of the state of the Nepal. It was signed. So they are seeing, they see India as a big brother. India has a big brother attitude. It's want to micromanage the Nepal, right? It want to, and also Nehru has declared that to declare Nepal as a zone of peace. Zone of peace means granting, autonomy, complete autonomy to work on the, for as foreign policy is concerned, because they see China as a threat, and he has not allowed Nepal to touch as a zone of peace. That's why they have given so many facilities in case of India. They can work in case of India. They can trade in case of India. They are getting national treatment because of that. But over the years, what happened during the when the Sushma Swaraj was external affairs, because of Bihar election, what happened? The constitution, uh, Nepal government, they released the constitution, and there was protest by the Nepalese. There is around 4 month blockade, right? There is a 4 month blockade against the in the Indo-Nepal border, and that led to very rise in fuel prices and every other commodities. Then because of that blockade, Nepalese they sorted to China, and China helped them. So China proved itself as a all-weather friend, and its friend in every circumstances. But it is alleged that Indian government, because of the Bihar election, they want to develop this animosity, and that's why Indian government has officially blamed because of it. So after that, KP Sharma Oli, he become, there is political instability in Nepal, right? There is three power centers, one of the king, then the Ranas, then the communist parties. There is always conflict, and there is never a political stability in Nepal. No government rules for 5 years. After 2 years and 3 years, every government then resigns. So there are also political instability. That is a biggest cause why we do not have very harder relationship and integrating. Recently, Nepal's Prime Minister Sheikh Bahadur Deuba visited India 4 years after Nepali leader visited New Delhi. It is the first bilateral visit abroad of Mr. Deuba, who leads the elected government. Before him, KP Sharma Oli was the Nepal's Prime Minister. Need for a rebalancing India-Nepal ties. Nepal shares border with 5 Indian states: Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, Sikkim, and Bihar. And free movement of people, thereby acting as an important point of cultural and economic linkage. Acting, yes, Uttarakhand, Bihar, free movement of people, and thereby acting as an important point of cultural and economic link exchange. Right? Because there are 5 Indian states that are sharing borders with Nepal. Nepal unveiled a new political map that claimed strategically important Kalapani, Limpiodura, Lipulekla, and Uttarakhand as a part of its sovereign territory. Now that is the disputed region, that is Lipulekla. First in the map uh, you will get here you will get Lipulekla, then you will get Limpiedura, then you get Lipulekla, then you will get sorry Limpiedura first, then you will get Kalapani, then you will get Lipulekla. These are the disputed territories. The misunderstanding created during the constitution framing, Madhesi agitation changed the entire gamut of relationship between India and Nepal. This Madhesi agitation of 4 long months, because and at that time Bihar election was there, that influenced it. That changed the relationship between India and Nepal shifted to the China. This is a mistake of India so far as foreign policy is concerned. Internal security is a major concern for India. Indo-Nepal border is virtually open and lightly policed, which exploited by terrorist outputs and insurgents from the northeastern part of India. That is supply of trade cadres fake Indian currency. That happens in Indian cross-border. So for such type of cross-border illegal works have been done in Indo-Nepal border. Nepal over the years has witnessed chronic political instability, including 10 years of violent insurgency, damaging Nepal's development in the economy. Right? There was a there was monarchy, right? India proposed constitutional monarchy, like the Britain, but the Democrats they wanted democracy, so there is conflict, right? You have heard, I think, the King Birendra, King Mahendra, King Upendra, King Gyanendra. These are the monarchs that ruled Nepal at different times. There is conflict of power so far as against between the king, the monarchs, and the Democrats, like the Communist Party. Nepal over the years have witnessed chronic political instability, including 10-year violent insurgency, damaging Nepal's development and economy. There is anti-India feeling among the certain ethnic groups in Nepal, which emanates from the perception that India indulges too much in Nepal and tinkers with political sovereignty. Right? Anti-India feeling, Big Brother attitude. They are complaining regarding Big Brother attitude. Certain ethnic groups in Nepal and emanates from the perception that India indulges too much in Nepal and tinkers their political sovereignty. Political sovereignty, that is independent decision making, is hampered because of India's interference. The establishment of diplomatic relationship between Nepal and China and its growing influence in Nepal has resulted in declining traditional leverage of India in Nepal. The establishment of diplomatic relationship between India and China and its growing influence in Nepal has resulted in declining traditional leverage. Yes. So diplomatic relations Nepal and China. China is investing too much. China is proving its China is again and again it is proving that it is well with all weather friend of Nepal. Right. Then the establishment of next over time trust deficit has widened between India and Nepal because of the Indian reputation for delaying implementation of various projects. Over time trust deficit between India and Nepal, right? Trust deficit is that Nepal thinks that India want to micromanage the Nepal, right? It is violating the neighborhood first policy or Panchashri agreement. The Mahakali agreement that has remained in limbo for over 2 decades, 2008 collapse of courses embankment unleashed massive flooding, highlighting India's failure to take precautionary measures. Right? Mahakali to take precautionary measures in case of flood, massive flood. Then prospects, trade and economy. India and Nepal are largest trade partner, and India is Nepal's largest trade partner, largest source of foreign investment, besides providing transit to almost entire third country trade of Nepal. India firms engaged in manufacturing services, banking, insurance, power sector, tourism industries. Indian firms engaged in these services in Nepal. Connectivity. Nepal is being a landlocked country surrounded by India on three sides. One side is open towards the Tibet, which has very limited vehicular access. The India Nepal has undertaken various connectivity programs to enhance people-to-people linkages and promote economic growth and development. Right. So India and Nepal has taken various connectivity programs. So cooperation is very significant. Cultural linkages, there have been initiatives to promote people-to-people contacts in area of art, culture, academics, media, and different local bodies of Nepal. India has signed three sister city agreements: Kathmandu, Varanasi. This is very important. Kathmandu, Varanasi, Lumbini, Bodh Gaya, and Janakpur, Ayodhya. These three sister city agreements have been signed with Nepal to develop the people-to-people contact and to develop cultural relationship. Right. Humanitarian assistance. Nepal lies in sensitive ecology fragile zone, which is prone to earthquakes, floods, causing massive damage to both life and money, whereby it remains the biggest recipient of India's humanitarian assistance. It's a fragile zone. There is very number of earthquakes and flood, massive damage to both life and money. Right. So it is recipient of biggest humanitarian assistance. Nepal is always recipient. Huge Indian community. Huge number of Indians live in Nepal. These include businessmen, traders, doctors, engineers, laborers, including seasonal migratory construction laborers. Multilateral partnership. India Nepal shares multiple multilateral partnerships such as BBIN, that is Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, and Nepal, BBIN corridor, BIMSTEC, Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical Cooperation, SARC, right? South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. In all this multilateral partnership, India and Nepal both are cooperating with each other. Right. What need to be done? Border issue need to be solved. The country have managed to settle about 90% of the common border. More than 8,500 boundary pillars have been installed, reflecting the agreed alignment. As both the countries they are laying claim that the same piece of land, the time has both come to sit and solve and talk the issue. Then completion of the ongoing process updating 1950 treaty peace of friendship. India must recognize that all the other developing economies, Nepal's aspirational young population, also looking beyond the open Indian border and pray for opportunities, desire to turn his landlocked country into a land-linked country with a merchant navy must be considered positively. Neighbors believe its nuclear doctrine through effective confidence building measures. So confidence building measures need to be taken. The 1950 treaty need to be revised and the issues need to be solved by dialogue between each other. The border dispute need to be solved. The informal relationship that should be made formal, and the relationship which need to be taken back before 2015, that is the damage done uh, by the Madhesi blockade, that need to be resolved. Right. So here the lecture ends today. Like this video, share this video, and subscribe to VANIK-IAS Academy.